Welcome back, everybody. We are live this morning from the Berkshire Hathaway Annual Shareholder Meeting. And joining us right now is Alford. He is GEICO's top salesman. Alan says he converts about 12 policies a day simply by answering his phone. Now, 12 policies a day may not sound like a lot, but over the 16 years that he's been with the company, it adds up to 31,944 policies. In fact, if all those customers were to renew their policies, that's about $50 million in annualized business, and that is the size of a small insurance firm all on his own. Alan's also the author of Sell Your Little Heart Out. And Alan, I want to thank you very much for being here today.
Well, thank you for having me, Becky. I really appreciate it. It's always great to be out here in Omaha with great folks.
I don't imagine you grew up thinking you were going to be a GEICO insurance salesman. How did you wind up in this job?
I wound up in it because I saw an ad in the paper, and it was open house. I was like, let me try it, see if it gets me going, gets me hired, and I did it. 17 years later, I'm still with the company.
You know, I think about it because you're basically answering random calls that they're coming in. You're just picking up the phone call, and you've got to convince these people that they actually want to go through with this and pick up the sale. So what do you do? What distinguishes you and makes you a great salesman?
I think with me, it's listening to people. Believe it or not, a lot of people think that salespeople are just great talkers, which I think I am, but I think the listening is the biggest part. I ask you questions, I ask you what you're looking for, and I generally have empathy about what you want to accomplish when you call.
My guess is you must know what you're talking about, too. When you're hearing out and hearing it is what I want, you better know all the different options and policies that you can swing my way.
Definitely. Knowing your product, knowing what you have to offer, how you can be a good fit, having confidence, it all plays into being successful as far as sales in that sales arena.
And the book that you wrote, too. I read on Amazon, read a bunch of reviews that were out on it. People gave you a lot of props for offering some real tips that they thought they could use, too. How'd you come up with the idea for writing a book?
I just came with it because a lot of people throughout my career through GEICO always asked me, what is your secret? And I was always busy. I always felt that this is an opportunity for someone to read, get some insight, talk to me, you know, by reading, getting some insight on the book, learning what I do day in, day out, and that's why I wrote the book, to help others. Did
you think about what you were doing, or did you just kind of naturally, are you naturally a salesman for some of this stuff?
And naturally, some of it is sales ability, but a lot of it I learned through coaching, through asking questions, through mistakes. You know, I have not always been a great salesperson. I make mistakes like everybody else. I'm human, but it's a process. Sales is a process.
Alan, Joe's listening in, and I know Joe has done some time himself with some cold calls on things. He's got a question, too. Joe, go ahead.
Alan, I could never close. I could never close, and people finally had to say, just, okay. I mean, and that was always hard for me. Do you know how to do, did you do Zig Ziglar or Dale Carnegie or Napoleon Hill or any of that stuff? Do you give them alternative choice, like would 1 year be good or 2 better for you, or did you try those things?
Yeah, I mean, there's always a mantra, always be closing. But the thing about selling is you have to know what the customer wants. Right. And that's the easiest way to sell someone, is to ask questions, not hard closing. I'm not a hard closer. I really get what you're looking for, what you want to accomplish, and I use that to my advantage too.
When it comes to the time where you're hearing the objections and you can tell they're ready, do you counter the objections and then ask for the? Do you do that? I love that. Do you do that?
Yes, I counter objections. I go through it. I listen, and you have to. That's part of selling, is handling tough objections. Writing down what the customer says is always very, very important. You always want to be in tune to your customer and listen intently. Yeah. That is a key, and always stay positive.
It doesn't hurt that you have the greatest ad campaign in the history, just repeatedly too, from cavemen to now Tarzan. You know, Jane asks the little chimp whether is the waterfall over here, and he goes. I mean, the greatest ad support of any product, I think, really on the planet. Don't you think?
Oh, it does.
Everybody knows
I agree.
GEICO,
GEICO does a great job of marketing.
I've heard that with 15 minutes you can save 15% on car insurance. I've heard that. I mean, it's like a mantra. Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm going to use for my meditation. Yeah, for 15, yeah.
Exactly. I mean, that's all it's about, marketing and advertising, but it's effective marketing and advertising. That's what it is. And it's not just that GEICO does a great job of training the staff, making sure everybody's prepared when you call in that you're going to get a professional agent.
Alan, I understand how you feel. Many of my clients have felt that way in the past, but they found that, that's the feel, felt, or found. You're free to use that if you want to do it, because I learned that.
What is it?
Feel, felt, or found. I understand how you feel.
Right.
Many of my clients have felt that way in the past, but they found that GEICO can save them 15% on, no, anyway.
and offer them great service.
Alan, let me ask you real quickly. Is it easier to sell people in flush times, or is it easier to sell them in downturns? Because you've been doing this for a long time.
Yes.
Maybe in a downturn, they're looking to save more money.
The downturn, they're looking to save more money. Definitely, their influence is going to be more financially. You know, that doesn't guarantee that you're going to make a sale, but definitely during the hard times, people are always looking to save money.
Well, thank you for coming in today. I know as your reward, you get to work all weekend to being a top salesman, but we really appreciate seeing you today.
Oh, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Great to see you. When we come back, we're going to tell you what Warren Buffett makes of this earnings season so far. Plus, Jim Cramer will join us live from the NYSE. Stay tuned. You are watching Squawk Box on CNBC, First in Business Worldwide.